And welcome back. And for our next lesson, let's talk about early voting. So I'll share my screen. So early voting in Fairfax, again, we're going to have two elections, the special and the general. So here are the calendars for the special. We'll start with the special election. So it's starting, early voting is starting on July the 25th. It'll run through the 6th of September, and it'll be at two sites, the Fairfax County Government Center and the Reston Government Center for the entirety of the 45 days. There will be no Sunday dates, and there will be no voting on Labor Day, but there are three Saturday dates. So the 26th, the 30th, and the 6th, we will have early voting going on. Then we'll have 9 7-day early voting satellites. Those are going to be at this list: Burke Center, Centerville Library, Franconia Government Center, Great Falls, Herndon Fortnightly, Lorndon Community Center, Jim Scott Community Center, Sully, and West Springfield. And you'll see that this is not all of the sites that we have. And there's no Mount Vernon up here. And that's because this is a special election for the 11th congressional district. So all those other precincts and satellites do not fall within the Jerry Connolly's old congressional district. Election day is September 9th. That's a Tuesday. So we'll have 4 priority sites. So you can work as a poll watcher from 5 a.m. to 9 p.m. And then micro shifters will be working on election day. Visit your 5 precincts anytime, again, between 10 and 6. So that's for the special election. The general election, early voting will start September 19th. So we will have just completed the special election. 10 days later, we're going to start early voting all over again for the general election for November. The items on the ballot will be for the 3 statewide offices: governor, lieutenant governor, and attorney general. So here's where you see the 3 sites, including Mount Vernon for the early voting, and then we'll have 13. So all of the 13 that you remember, we'll have 16 early voting days, or 16, excuse me, 13 sites will have 16 days of additional early voting. So the 3 are for 45, the other 13 are for only 16 days. We will have Saturdays, excuse me again, we will have 3 Saturdays. So the 20th, the 18th, and 25th, and the 1st, I beg your pardon, 4 Saturdays, and 1 Sunday, the 26th. So lots of early voting time here. Again, on election day, we will have the regular poll watchers can work on those in those 5 priority precincts, or the micro shifters can visit their about 5 precinct sites between 10 and 6. Early voting, we're going to have 4 opening days. So opening day on the 25th of July and the 8th, the 29th of August for the special election. And then early voting will start for the general election on the 19th of August, and again on the 23rd of October. So 4 opening days for during early voting. We're going to ask you to show up there an hour ahead of the satellite start time on opening day, and then about a half an hour ahead any other time on any other shift. So these 4 dates, we'll ask you to get there an hour ahead. Those are the dates that they're going to be opening up all the equipment. Same like election day. This is when they open everything up and crank it all up. This is when you want to see the 0 numbers on the scanners. record your public and protected count, get the zip tie numbers, the red seal numbers. And again, if you're going to be working on an opening day, we'll send you the data ahead of time so that you'll have those numbers to compare when you get there. Just as a reminder, the protected count is how many ballots have ever been scanned through the machine. So that's like the machine odometer. The public count is the number of ballots that have been cast this election. This is let me move my picture here. This is a graphic of the machine certification form. So if you need to get a serial number, you missed that, or you need some other information of the serial numbers, this is all going to be on the machine cert form. You can ask the chief to see that form. This is the pre-filled information is what is there at opening. So you can compare that with what you think it ought to be or what you see. Make sure that they're the same. And then they will complete the serial numbers and the scanner numbers and so on at the end of the day on of voting, on early voting. Excuse me. Every day during early voting, they will keep a daily DS300 log. So at the opening of each day, now this log was from the primary, but it'll be the same for early voting, just different dates. The dates are down the side. So across the top is what is the opening lid serial number, what is the red sticker number, and what's the ballot compartment box seal number, the zip tie seal number. 2 EOs will observe that and put their initials here, and they do this at opening, and then they do it again at closing. The lid seal number, the red or maybe blue seal number, and then their initials. So you can look at this daily log whenever you need to. It's generally kept close to the DS200s, or excuse me, DS300s. Got to get used to that. If you need information for your recording or a report form recording. You're not going to be able, as EOs or as voters come in, you're not going to be able to see the voter's ID up close, but you should be able to see that everybody is presenting a valid ID. If you remember from last year, we had the issue of driver privilege card. That issue remains. So if a voter comes in and presents what looks like a driver's license, it's because that's what it says. It'll have federal limits apply. It'll have a code on the back. It'll have a code here on the face of it. These are driver privilege cards. These are issued to non-citizens that allow them the privilege of driving. If he presents that, the EO is just going to say, this is not a valid ID. Do you have some other mode of identification? And if he does not, he'll have to present, if he does not, he'll have to sign an ID confirmation statement confirming that, hey, I am who I say I am. I say I'm Barbara Tangs. If I've forgotten my ID, I can sign that ID confirmation statement, and then I'll just vote normally. If he refuses to sign the ID confirmation and he presents no ID, then he's going to have to vote a provisional ballot. The reminder that the EO may not ask the voter for a driver's license if he presents something else. If he chooses to give you, presents a different type of ID, he can do that. A lot of people will use digital copies so they can present a utility bill, a bank statement, a government check, or a paycheck. Students who are attending Virginia public schools now all have digital digital student ID cards. So they can present this. They all have photos with them. So these are acceptable means of IDs other than a driver's license, and they may use those as to check in. Once the voter checks in, you may see, though, that he's going to need to he's going to need to present or signs other types of forms. So you want to listen. Does he need to sign an ID confirmation statement? If he's marked inactive on the poll pads, excuse me, on the e-poll pad, he'll need to sign a affirmation of eligibility form to reactivate him, his eligibility to vote. If the voter needs assistance or needs someone else to mark the form, sometimes people have a bit of a palsy and can't mark the ballot inside the circles. So they ask somebody else to fill it in for them. So an assistance form needs to be filled out. If a voter has requested an absentee ballot, he comes in to vote early and he doesn't bring his absentee ballot back with him, he can sign what's called a goldenrod because of the color of the form, and that will authorize the election officer to give him a standard ballot. This process cannot be followed on election day. If on election day, a voter comes in and does not bring his absentee ballot with him, then the only way he can vote on election day is a provisional ballot. Curbsides, people may vote from curbside if they're 65 or older, if they're disabled. You're eligible to walk out and observe that whole voting process. It's not different from inside, only that it's outside. So your duty is to just make sure that all of the same procedures, ID presentation in any kind of form, is completed and filled out before the voter is given a ballot and votes. Spoiled ballots. Sometimes a voter will mark too many spaces or they'll mismark their ballot in some way, and they'll go back and ask the chief or assistant chief, can I please try again? I've mismarked my ballot. Since it's in ink, you can't erase it. So the chief will give him a new ballot, but he'll write spoiled across the face of the ballot. He may ask the voter to please mark in, fill in all of the circles so that his privacy is maintained. We don't know how he intended to vote. Absentee ballots, again, the same thing. The voter's got to surrender his absentee ballot. If he doesn't on election day, then he's got to vote a provisional. If he does it doesn't bring it with him during early voting, then he can sign a goldenrod form. So we'll stop here and thank you, and we'll be back in a minute for our next lesson.